Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. Today I have a super fun interview for you with Jennifer Spivak. We were just talking after the interview and I'm like, let's be friends. You were really fun. So she is the CEO of the Ad Girls Agency, a high vibe Facebook ad squad. She's helped hundreds of businesses generate millions of dollars on Facebook and Instagram, with many seeing 1,000% return on their ad campaigns. Her all-female team enjoys crunching data, helping women-owned businesses make tons of money, and breaking the rules when it comes to Facebook ads. Jennifer has been featured in Forbes and the New York Times, listed as a top Facebook ads manager to watch, and is an adjunct professor of digital marketing at the City College of New York. All right, we talk all about Facebook ads, obviously, messaging, how she's creating a purpose-driven business that's making an impact, how she turned $40,000 into $1 million with a Facebook ad campaign that is not being taught anywhere, and other stuff. So you're gonna wanna listen. Enjoy. Hey, Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rachel, I'm so happy to be here.
So excited you're here. So let's start off, just tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into it.
Okay. All right. So what I do currently is I run an all-female Facebook and Instagram advertising agency. How I got into it is like a bit of a long story. I'll take you back. So when I was actually in my early 20s, I was in an abusive relationship. And, long story short, I was able to get out and move on with my life relatively easily compared to a lot of other women that find themselves in that situation. And it wasn't until a few years out that I learned that it was because I had access to finances. And so there was this clear moment of, oh, wow, like there are, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of women that exist on this planet that are in the same situation that I was. And they didn't have the means to make the decision that I made because they were choosing between, do I stay in this environment or do I end up like on the streets or homeless? And it was just like this moment of, oh, okay, money is life or death for women. And this is like what I'm here to sort of further the mission of on this planet. And so everything from that moment forward was, how can I put more money in the hands of more women, not only to save them from abusive relationships, but actually financial independence for women means never needing to be beholden to anybody. And I happen to have marketing skills. I had a background in marketing and advertising. And I said, okay, this may seem counterintuitive to use Facebook ads to fight domestic violence, but here we are. This is what we're going to do. And I essentially built an agency from the ground up, again, with this mission of putting more money in the hands of more women. I have an all-female team, so we hire almost exclusively women. We work primarily with women entrepreneurs. And we also have a philanthropic aspect where we donate 5% of our revenue of our profits to an organization that actually specifically deals with the financial abuse aspect of domestic violence.
Amazing. So you're pretty open about sharing your story. Why do you feel like it's so important?
I think that the reason has actually changed and evolved over the years. When I first started sharing my story so openly, it was nothing to do with business. It was because I had to. Plain and simple, like soul level, I had to. It was necessary. It was part of my healing process. That might not be true for everybody, by the way. And, I'm always very careful to say, hey, just because I've been in that situation and this is what empowers me, understand that it was a thought process of like, is this the right fit for me before I, really made this part of my platform? And it might not be the right fit for everybody. But at the time it was, I have to, this is actually what's healing for me. But where it evolved to is it creates this just insane, deep, authentic connection that is like well beyond what we sort of know as personal brand. Like it's like that times a million, where, in speaking that openly and that vulnerably and really just being such an open book, so to speak, in the way that I market myself online, what ends up happening is that, people show up to sales calls with me, for example, and they feel like they know me.
Yep.
They feel like they already have a relationship with me, and we're not doing a sales call. We're actually just connecting, and they've already decided it's me. And this was sort of something I realized after the fact, but sharing in such a deep, authentic way actually allows you to have competition be irrelevant, because people are no longer shopping between different advertising agencies. They're so sold into our vision, our mission, and my story by the time they get on a call with me that I don't have to do any selling. It's just like, hey, cool, we're like each other's people. Let's go. Let's do this.
Amazing. Okay, pause. Impact makers that are listening, I want you to rewind and listen to what Jennifer just said, because what she just said, it's beyond marketing. Like, that's something that you can't necessarily like learn in a course or something like that. It's very much like, who are you at the core? What do you stand for? What have you been through? What are your experiences? And share that. Was it scary for you to share it at first, like so
In the
publicly?
beginning, yeah, in the beginning, yes. And I remember, years ago, the first thing that happened in terms of sharing this publicly is that I was written up in an article for the New York Daily News. And like, I remember like for like a week knowing it was coming out. And then a week after it came out, like every night when I would go to sleep, like my stomach would hurt. Like I was just like, oh my God, like I can't go back now. And every additional moment of sharing, of speaking about it at an event, of getting published somewhere else, talking about that story, it became more and more comfortable, to the point where like I even like one of the coaches that I work with recently, I was like, how come you never talk about that experience with me? I'm like, oh my God, there's zero trauma left. Like literally not, like nothing. Like there's no trauma response. There's no nervous system, like nothing. So I really, over time, it got, I don't know, desensitized is the right word, but it was definitely scary in the beginning. It's not anymore.
Have you had other women like come to you and actually share because what you've been through, some women, they don't want to talk about it openly because there's like a shame aspect, so have you had other women come to you and saying like, me too, or you inspired me to share, or anything like that?
Absolutely. And not only the shame, I mean, I was so fortunate. This was someone I was in a relationship with for a year and we didn't have children. Some of these women still have to see their abuser because they have children with that person. Like there are these complex layers that are very real in terms of why other women maybe are not sharing their stories. But what I get a lot of is, I mean, I've had clients specifically hire me and say, I'm hiring you because of this. I never talk about this, but the reason I resonate with it is because this is actually something that happened to me, or this is something that happened to my sister, or this is something that happened, because everybody knows somebody. It's just everybody knows somebody. So I do hear that a lot, and it's mostly just, I'm not ready to do that, but thank you for doing it. It still means something to me, even though I'm not ready to do it for myself, and I may not ever be. And again, always like, cool girl, do you. Like, it's so a personal healing process, and what works for somebody is not going to be the same thing that works for someone else.
Totally. So you stumbled across a Facebook ad strategy in 2020 that has like just completely transformed your business. Can you talk to us about what you found and what's doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, really, my business had grown for about 5 or so years through word of mouth and referrals. And obviously that's amazing, right? We love that. And also it drove me nuts because I wanted control over my own growth. Like I got to a point where I was like, cool, we're doing like, mid 6 figures. This is great. We're growing and I want to grow more. And I don't have a system to do that. It's kind of just like waiting around and hoping the next referral comes in sooner rather than later. And so, I started playing around with Facebook ads, since that's obviously what we do. And at first I ran the traditional Facebook advertising campaign, right? Like send people to a lead magnet and then retarget them, and also have to do follow up through an email list to get them to book a call with me. And it wasn't clicking the way that I wanted it to. And I kept going back to, do I have the right lead magnet? Is this actually the right sort of front-facing offer to attract the types of clients and the caliber of clients that we want to work with? And the more I was sort of in an inquiry around that, the more I got to, I actually think my target client doesn't download lead magnets anymore. I don't think they're watching webinars. I actually think I'm asking the wrong question, right? Like they're higher level, they're, you know, high 6 and high 7-figure CEOs.
Yeah.
They're not interested in anything remotely DIY. They actually don't want to learn how to do anything. They want the right person whose values they align with to do the thing for them. And so I said, okay, this is a crazy idea, breaking all the rules. I'm throwing out the lead magnet. Okay, we're just going to do, you know, an ad to cold traffic straight to a landing page to book a call with me. I had very minimal hopes because everything we know about marketing says that you can't do that. That is against the rules. You must nurture people, right? All that stuff. Provide value first. Nothing wrong with any of that, by the way. But I wanted to see if I could do something easier and you know, breaking the rules. And so long story short, it worked. It's an incredibly simple campaign that we still run today. So I've got, you know, close to 18 months worth of data on this. And again, it's a couple of very simple ads straight to a landing page, all about us. Again, I'm oversimplifying it. Like the all about us piece is the mission, the vision, my personal brand, right? It's not just like, do you want us to run your Facebook ads? Here are the results that we've gotten for clients, because this is what every other agency is saying. And so the messaging is really, really important. But ultimately, it's been incredibly successful. Over the last, again, 18 months or so, we've spent maybe around $40,000 on that campaign, which isn't a lot if you're thinking about it divided by 18 months. And it's brought in about $1 million in business.
That's a pretty good ROI.
It's pretty good. It's not bad at all. Yeah.
That's incredible. So you hit 7 figures last year, and your team has, you know, more than doubled. Yes. What have you done to reach that milestone?
It was honestly that campaign. I mean, that is really just the truth. If we look at just my numbers from 2020, the difference between 2019 and 2020 was almost exactly the amount that campaign had brought in. So it was really tapping into a lead generation system that just like worked on demand, totally automated, didn't require like, you know, okay, let me do 75 LinkedIn posts and hope that something reaches somebody. Let me show up to networking events. Let me go do like be everywhere, be on. It was just, this thing just runs, calls to show up in my calendar. It is a true system. I can turn the dial up or down whenever I need to. And that was the difference maker in terms of our revenue, without a doubt.
That's incredible. I think like what I'm hearing you say is give yourself, can you hear the vacuum, by the way? Sorry.
Just a little bit.
Sorry. I'm blessed to have someone clean while I do this.
God bless people. They are.
I am so blessed. Holy moly. Yeah. So I need to time that better, but it's all good.
Real life. I love it.
This is, yeah, it's real life. Oh crap, I was going to ask you. Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, is give yourself permission to think outside the box. And just because everyone is doing one strategy and saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, like marketing is about testing. And so like have fun and play and test different things. And when you do that, you're going to stumble upon gold. And when you find that gold, lean into it.
100%. And even like a little bit beyond that, be willing to try the things that are definitely, in quotations, not supposed to work. Yeah. Solely because that's what you think would feel best for you. So like, I just know for me, look, some people love like showing up on social media every day, like doing reels, I don't. I am not interested, like at all. Like I'm in pajamas every single day of my life.
I know, I'm like in pajamas. I haven't worked out yet and I haven't showered. Yeah. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, no, I also have not. I've like really mastered you can't tell that I'm in pajamas from the waist up, but I am. This is
totally
100%, right? Like I'm just like showing up on social media every day, that whole concept, doing all of I have to give people 6 months of value. Again, I'm not knocking it, because I believe for some people, it is what is genuinely aligned. And so then that's what they should be doing. Yeah. For me, I want to, look, I like to be like a little bit of like a lazy marketer. Like that's just like my style, right? Like, how can I have this happen in like the easiest, most frictionless way possible? And for me, that was, we do awesome work. I can tell you in 5 seconds what's different about us. It's not because we have some secret process, because spoiler alert, no agency does. That's just marketing. It's because of who we are. It's because of the team that I've built. It's because of our values and what we stand for in our story. And hey, if that's something that you align with and you would like to scale your business with Facebook ads, let's go. And that's what felt really good for me. Just putting it out there, take it or leave it. I'm even really upfront in the landing page about what our pricing is, which again is another rule that you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. So you actually say
yeah.
like how much we charge before they
Right.
even book a call. So it's like when people get on the phone with you, they're super qualified.
There is no surprises, because again, another thing that feels really good for me trying to make all my decisions from that place is I don't like hard sales. Yeah. I don't like convincing anybody of anything. I don't like, let's spend 30 minutes getting you excited and then like, surprise, here's a price that you're not ready to invest in yet, So I like full and total transparency. That is how we operate in the agency. That is how I do all of my marketing. And so the whole system, which again has made us, made us $1 million in 2020. We are, it's June right now of 2021. We just passed $1 million. So we will definitely be doing at least 2 million this year, still growing from this funnel.
Let me stop you there, because there are some people listening that 2020 was a crapshoot of a year for many people. Yeah. That's the year when people lost jobs, where like all crap hit the fan. And there's no way you can build $1 million business and scale profitably and grow in 2020 during a pandemic. So can you squash that belief?
Are you noticing a rule breaker theme?
Yeah.
I mean, look, here's the thing. I never want to minimize anybody's experience, because COVID was obviously hard for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
All of that is a 100% a reality. It's a reality. And not but it was a circumstance. Mm-hmm. There are always circumstances on this planet, right? And you as the individual person who is the source of the power in your life and all the things that you create get to decide what your relationship is to that circumstance. That doesn't minimize the reality. That doesn't mean that there weren't real things to navigate. March of 2020, we made almost no money, and it was terrifying. It was literally a moment. I was just pacing around my apartment for days, trying to pep myself up. All right, Jennifer, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Again, those things were real. And, I made a decision that it was going to be, for me, no different than any other circumstance, at least when it came to growing my company. And so I just kept going, plain and simple, and continued to show up. And, obviously there is, again, the reality part here. What happened with COVID is that a lot of people realized how important it was to specifically scale the online part of their business, if that wasn't entirely their focus before. So again, just the reality that the services that we provide were very much in demand. And so I think that did contribute to our growth. We also had, again, this campaign that was running. I think a part of it was just me energetically continuing to show up. And beyond just making that extra money, I mean, we were able to hire so many women and provide so many opportunities, not only to our actual full-time staff, but also just vendors, because we must serve with women vendors as well, and creating all this economic opportunity for these women in this year that ultimately was really tough for a lot of people. That was actually one of the coolest things.
That's incredible. And so March 2020, making almost no money, to you figuring something, to you flipping it around, creating $1 million business. It makes me think of, I was in, my first business was in health and fitness, and December historically is the month where you don't make any money, because who cares about their health and fitness in December, right? Right. But there were people in the company I was a part of, it was network marketing, that thrived in December, that crushed it. And so why were they able to crush it when most everyone else was struggling? It's all about making that decision of, no, I'm not going to accept the fact that you tell me December is slow. I'm not going to accept the fact that you tell me that, COVID is happening. I'm just going to make a decision and go anyways, and look at the impact that you have made, all the people you have hired. It's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's awesome. Look, I'm such a big fan of just maybe it's corny, but I create my own reality. I'm the alchemist, I'm the sorcerer, I am all of the things. And it gets to be what I say it is.
I love it. So you are platform agnostic. So What does that mean? Can you explain that a little bit and why?
Yeah, so obviously we are a Facebook and Instagram advertising agency. And so the services that we provide to clients are very specific to those platforms. However, our approach is really more about holistic marketing, holistic messaging, holistic customer decision journey. We just happen to use Facebook and Instagram as the sort of source for that traffic because to date, that is still where the majority of people are. That is still where we're able to get the best results for our clients. But the results that we are getting is not because, again, we know some secret about Facebook ads that nobody else knows, or that, there's some secret special media buying hack or tactic that we use. And look, some of those things do come into play, but we feel very strongly that proper positioning and messaging is significantly more important than media buying or the algorithm or any sort of technical feature that any particular platform has. And so what the work that we do with clients, the process that we take them through to really define their messaging, to really understand the right front-facing offer that brings in the exact right people while actively deterring the wrong people, which is also really important. Yeah. And, sort of helping them sort of very organically and in alignment move people through their natural customer decision journey they want to go through. Like, we could put any platform at the front of that. It actually doesn't matter. Again, we choose Facebook and Instagram right now because it's what works best. But, I know like recently, I don't know how you or your audience are familiar with this at all, but like the iOS 14 updates, which made everybody, right, like freak out. Oh no, yeah, the Facebook sky is falling. Facebook ads are dead. And we have a lot of thoughts on that. But one of the things that, we would say to prospects all the time when they were like, what if Facebook ads goes away? Okay, that's not going to happen. But if it did, we would just switch to another platform. It actually would be like the easiest thing to do because the foundation of our work and the foundation of what actually gets results for clients is not about Facebook. It's actually our big picture approach to holistic marketing and holistic messaging.
Where would you go? Just curious.
Great question. Maybe YouTube.
Yeah.
I would definitely consider YouTube or Google. I've also heard that just in terms of like the back end, that Snapchat's back end platform, I think my business partner said like there may even be a lawsuit at hand because it looks so much like Facebook's back end. It like almost looks like they copied it, which would mean the switch, like as a joke, right? But the switch would be so easy because it functionally looks so similar. So yeah, maybe one of those.
Any platform. So the messaging of the ad is more important than the trick, the hack. What are some of like the messaging things?
Times 5 million. Like, let me just like drive that home because people are always like, so focused on Facebook ads as my Facebook ads aren't working. My Facebook ads aren't working. It's like, okay, no, your messaging isn't landing. Your offer isn't presented in the right way, and or people don't actually want your offer, or you haven't figured out like how to position it in a way that moves them forward. Facebook ads are a source of traffic. That is it. All they can do is put more eyeballs on the thing that you already have.
Right. Okay. So messaging, mistakes that people are making, and what should you have on your Facebook ad and on whatever you're driving them to actually make that offer convert.
Yeah. So some of the biggest mistakes I see people making with messaging, I mean, it really comes down to two things. One is that they are just way too vanilla and generic. So a sort of little test that we do with some of our clients, if they're like, hey, I want to run traffic to this webinar. And I'm like, okay, great. I want you to play a game. Could the title of this webinar be the title of a webinar for somebody else that does what you do? Because if it could be, we're not specific enough. We haven't honed in enough on your unique personal brand and your intellectual property. There's too much competition. Yeah. And I mean, I think, this relates a lot. We work with a lot of coaches. We have a lot of people in the coach and digital product course creator space. There's a lot of competition there. If you're creating a course to help people make more money, to do marketing, like you and 5 million other people. Now, that doesn't have to mean anything about your results. It just means that, the 5 ways to grow your income in 2021, like boring, number one. And number two, like it looks like everything else. It could literally come out of the mouth of and be on the website of your competitor, as well as somebody else that does even something entirely different than what you do. And so that's really what it comes down to, right? Not using enough of your unique personal brand, your unique personal story, and really like leading with what's actually different about you. And then not enough of incorporating on the front end, like your real true IP, like really what is different about your approach and your process versus the very sort of vanilla generic 5 steps to do whatever.
Got it. All right. So be as different as you possibly can.
Absolutely, right? I mean, again, just thinking about the Facebook newsfeed, it is crowded. Facebook is literally constantly coming up against, we're running out of ad space. Like we're literally running out of places to place ads. And so just going that extra step to really hone in on what is different about you and being willing to like lean into potentially deterring the wrong people, which is scary.
Can you speak into that? Because what about people who are like, I don't want to repel somebody?
So something we talk about a lot at the agency is, this concept of like a lead magnet for lead magnet's sake, or like building your list for list building sake. And like, that's a lot of the sort of problem in this industry, especially when you're working with some sort of like, some like the lower level ads managers, when they don't really fully understand marketing strategy at a high level, right? It's like, you can use Facebook ads to build your list. You can get all these people on your list. You can be really focused on getting the lowest cost per lead possible. And what so many people experience when they focus on that as sort of the end all be all is they're like, wait, nobody's converting. I'm not making actually any money out of this. And it's like, well, yes, duh, that wasn't actually really part of the strategy if you didn't realize that at the beginning. And so what we see happening a lot is, again, this focus on leads for lead's sake. And so you don't think about what's actually the right front-facing offer to bring in only the right people who are going to buy my paid offer, my paid program, my paid product, whatever it is. It's how do I get as many people in as possible for the lowest cost possible? And I think that is ultimately short-sighted. What ends up happening is your list, your audience gets like muddied with people that ultimately aren't your people, who are never going to buy from you. Not only does that impact your conversion rates, but it's like disempowering, right? To feel like, oh God, I have thousands of people on my list and they never buy anything from me. Like, do I suck? Am I terrible? And you're getting almost like bad data and bad feedback because you didn't build your list or grow your audience from the ground up through the lens of, let me allow in only the right people. You don't want everybody in your world. Your lead magnet, just as an example, is that front-facing offer, is a barrier, as it should be. You only want the people that are your people, that like cannot get enough of you. Like I think of one of my cats. When I talk, one of my cats, his name is 13. He literally looks at me like everything, like every sound I make is just like music to his ears. Like he just can't get. Those are the people you want in your audience, the people that look at you the way that my cat looks at me, right? Like that are so obsessed and so ready to buy anything that you put in front of them. And so we think it's incredibly important to deter the wrong people just as much as it is important to attract the right people.
So what's something that you would put in an ad or a landing page that would do that?
I use a lot of curse words.
Okay. So yeah, for your audience, that's great. You would totally repel people. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So to swear or not to swear.
Right. Exactly. And I think, again, even just our messaging around women empowerment, and, we talk a lot about like, we're like anti-bro marketing, like obviously that repels certain people. One of my front-facing offers is a mini course, a $37 course, and it's called Everywhere AF. And it's like, that's just like my brand to a T, right? It's all about a targeting strategy that allows you to be everywhere. We call it Everywhere AF. We talk about how it's like, for people who are really into like the lazy way to do marketing, which is so interesting because there's somebody in the space who I guess we would sort of consider a competitor, and she runs ads for a program called the Not for Lazy Marketers Club. And it's like, wow, look at that. We've both actually done an incredible job in terms, even though we're quote unquote competitors. I don't really believe in that, but in the same space, right? We've both done such an incredible job of calling in the exact right people. Her people are the ones that like the hustle culture. They want to work hard. That like makes them feel good. And again, that's awesome. Go to her. My people are like, I don't want to post on social media every single day. is that even allowed? And I'm like, yes, love, come home to mama. Like, let me take care of it. I'll show you it is allowed. And it is actually something you can do that is really effective, that will make you money. Let me show you the strategy to have everything run on autopilot.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so fun. I think that's like a huge mindset shift that we need to have. You're not going to be all things to all people, and when you try to be, you're gonna suck. Like, you're gonna wonder why it's not working because you're too vanilla.
Absolutely. And again, I think it's the biggest thing we encounter with clients when their campaigns are not working. And, we have to come in and say, guys, no offense, this messaging is not good. This is not going to, like, let us help you. It's too boring. We are trying to be all things to all people. And then in a crowded news feed, you end up being nothing to nobody.
Yeah. And when you decide to flip that, and you're very like using curse words or whatever that might look like, you're gonna get people that comment some really nasty negative comments.
Which is great for social proof. Thank you so much for all of your negative comments, my friends. Love it so much.
There you go. What a great attitude to have. Because some people are like, I can't stand it if someone leaves a negative comment. What if they say this? What if they? I'm like, bless and release, honey. Like, you.
And not even more. Like, I'm literally like, wow, thank you so much for giving me that extra social proof that makes Facebook think it should show this ad more, because it creates engagement and keeps people on the platform longer. Like, oh, what a gift.
What a gift. I'm totally getting distracted by your nails, by the way. They're so beautiful. And I'm like, now that I'm in America, I need to get my nails done. I'm like, oh, I'm having nail envy.
It's my favorite compliment to get. I take them so seriously. I'm like a lunatic about them. So you've made my day.
They are beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay. What's the best book you've read?
The best book I've read is called Think and Grow Rich. So not Think and Grow Rich. Have you ever read Think and Grow Rich by Pam Grout?
No, I thought you said Think and Grow Rich. I'm like, oh, well, of course, Napoleon. Okay.
That's a great one. That's a classic. Yeah. But this one is Think and Grow Rich. It's like thank you, gratitude, right? So it's called Think and Grow Rich. It's like a new spin. It's by Pam Grout. I talk about Pam Grout as though she's my bestie. She doesn't know I exist, but I'm always like, Pammy. I just love her.
She will.
Pammy, you're out there. I love you. But yeah, I mean, that book was the most impactful thing I've ever read, to the point where literally in my closet here, I have a box full of like 30 of them that I just keep replenishing, because when I encounter strangers, I'm like, hello, here, you need this. I just give it out to people. It is phenomenal. Please go read it, everybody.
I love it. What does it mean to you to make an impact?
It means doing for self as well as doing for others, and not having one more prioritized over the other. Like, actually, they both get to equally coexist.
Yeah. I love it. Where can we connect with you?
So, unsurprisingly to nobody, my favorite platform to hang out on is Facebook. I'm Jennifer Spivak over there. You can find me and friend me. I love to connect with people. And then if you want to learn more about my agency and the work that we're doing, our website is theadgirls.com.
Amazing. Jennifer, it's so much fun. Can't wait to get to know you better. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Rachel.